What's up, fellas? It's time for Wake Up Mintzy. We're drinking our Stella Blue coffee. We got our dude wipes. And we're excited to be here on this lovely, I don't know if it's really a lovely Wednesday morning, but hey, it's a Wednesday morning. There's tons of stuff going on in the sports world. Barstool office is popping. What could be better? Chugging some Stella Blue coffee. As always, to start my day. Ton of stuff going on in the sports world. You know what I'm excited about? The freaking NFL draft. Tomorrow night, we got our big Barstool show we do every year. John Gruden's going to be up here. Brandon Walker. We got a big crew. I'm getting pumped about it. I'm doing some stuff with Barstool Chicago, Eddie and them later. A little mock draft thing I'm super excited about. But I'm getting in the spirit of this thing. Look, you know, there's so much fun stuff going on sports-wise right now. We got the NBA playoffs. We got an NHL playoffs, baseball rolling along. But, man, something about that NFL draft week, for all of us football-starved off-season fans, it kind of just gets you back in it for like a week or two. And, you know, I've been checking out mock drafts and, you know, doing a lot of research on it, and I've got a lot of thoughts. Joined by Tyler Moody this morning from Louisiana. Moody, how we doing this morning?
What's up, brother? Good morning. Good morning. Trying to wake up over here and get, up my energy level to where you're at, because you're right out of bed, ready to go. I'm a little bit of the opposite. I'm not so much the morning person. I probably need to start drinking Stella Blue. I probably need to get me some coffee and start.
Hell yeah, man.
You. That's one thing I've never really done is drink coffee, though. I'm not a coffee drinker. So getting going in the morning, a little bit more difficult for me at times.
Yeah, I started, when I got into it, it was like in New Orleans back in the day, and I started out just drinking the iced coffees because the summer was so hot, and then I kind of morphed into the coffee. But I think the iced is the way to ease into it. But luckily, Stella Blue, you got great cold brew. I mean, amazing product. And shout out Big Cat, as always. Well, a lot of stuff to get to. Like I said, I'm getting fired up about the NFL draft. We got the pro baseball, college baseball. We got the NFL draft show Thursday. There's a bunch of commercial sheets going on. Obviously, a lot of stuff going on in the Barstool world. All right, first touch on what happened last night. Some NBA stuff. You see the Lakers knotted it up with the Timberwolves. It's 1-1. Luka had 31. They kind of came out. I thought that might happen. They were a 5.5-point favorite. They were kind of back. You want to say like game 2's a must win, but after they got embarrassed in game 1, you kind of had to think they'd come out strong, and they really did. Minnesota only scored 85 points in that game. Like when I looked up, it was 31-15 late first quarter. But 1-1. I still think it's going to be a good series, though. I don't think Minnesota goes down here without a fight.
No, they're definitely going to fight. Obviously, the Lakers are the more complete team. They've got the superstars. They have the experience with LeBron. They're the favorite to win the series. They should. I'm in a weird spot with the Lakers because as a Mavs fan, I do have love for Luka, but I got a lot of hate for LeBron personally. So I'm kind of torn as to how I want to see how things go for them. But they're probably going to win the series, but Minnesota could make it go 6 or 7.
What I'm curious about, so as a Mavs fan, look, we all know this is the opposite of when Anthony Davis left for the Lakers, when he forced himself out of New Orleans. Luka was pissed. He just bought a house. He broke his phone. So as a Mavs fan, you can't really harbor animosity toward Luka. He didn't want out. So How do you feel about that?
That's exactly right. You can't be mad at him. He's such a good dude, too. He plays the game the right way. He's an absolute baller. I mean, he's a potential Hall of Famer one day. It's tough to be mad at Luka. All of the hate right now is for Nico Harrison. What a POS, you know what I mean? Like, really and truly. He screwed over the Mavs fan base, screwed over Luka, and has turned the Lakers into a championship favorite once again because of that move. A lot of people out there were saying, oh, the NBA's rigged. They did it for ratings, all this stuff. It makes more sense than just trading away a superstar like Luka. I'm actually willing to believe in that conspiracy theory rather than that Nico Harrison could be that damn stupid, because it's one of the worst moves I've ever seen in sports history. It just sucks. And then Anthony Davis gets hurt, completely ruined the Mavs season. And it was just everything about it was wrong. It sucks for sure.
And every time Nico Harrison opens his mouth in these press conferences, he just makes it even worse. He's like, well, I didn't realize, he said he thought it would be bad. He didn't realize the degree of how much people loved Luka in Dallas. I mean, he cost that franchise like hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. Literally. And Luka's like in his prime. He's 4 or 5 years younger than Anthony Davis, I believe, too. I don't know. The whole thing was just crazy. And, I don't know. Dallas is going to make a lot less money the next few years through ticket sales, through merch. I mean, they they really built something with Dirk and then Doncic with the European thing. I don't know, man. I still, it's one of those things where it's months later and still unpacking it.
And they really turned off fans like me. Like, obviously, I'm not a diehard fan, but I'm always going to cheer for the Mavs. You know what I mean? Like, Dirk Nowitzki, I used to pretend to be him in my room growing up. You know, I was Dirk, bro. That was who I was, you know? And obviously, you know, winning the championship behind Dirk was just incredible. Made me really fall in love with Mavs basketball. Then we kind of had a downtime. Obviously, you know, NFL and MLB have taken over for me. But fans like me are not going to give a damn about the Mavs right now until Nico's out or until we get another superstar. I do like Anthony Davis. I love Kyrie. Don't get me wrong. Like, I actually like that combo moving forward. But damn, man, in the short term, it feels bad for sure.
Other NBA from last night, the Pacers are up 2-0 now on the Bucks. Beat them 123-115 despite Damian Lillard coming back. You know, some sharp people were saying the Pacers like have a chance to make a big run in the East that I follow. I got to see it to believe it because it just feels like Celtics Cavs is inevitable. But they are up 2-0, and man, the Bucks thing. I mean, they won that title that year, and you thought they would just have this like. It feels like they've fallen off like a lot. I don't know. You know, Giannis is still really good, but it doesn't seem like he's what he was.
Yeah, they don't look quite the same. They played pretty well early in the season, though, with the combination of Damian and
yeah. Well, he had that
Giannis.
blood
So,
clot.
like,
He just came back last night. He's been out for months.
Yeah, he's been out for months. But early on, they looked fine with that group. It may take him a little while to get going. Damian Lillard is a gamer. Tons of basketball under his belt. One of my favorite players of all time. Like, absolute gamer. You know, I lived in Oregon for a while, so I went to some Blazers games whenever he was up there. So I'm definitely a Damian Lillard fan. Always going to cheer for him. But it may take him a little time to get going, and that may not be something they have.
Yeah, and then the other game last night, the Thunder mauled the Grizzlies again. But hey, you know what? Credit to the Thunder. You know, after winning by 49 or 51 in game one, they only won by 19 last night. So, you know, at least it was nice of them to take it a little easier on the Grizzlies. I do feel like there's been a national narrative that's interesting by people like me, and maybe, I don't know about you, but like people that aren't diehard NBA people. The Thunder were like the best. You know, SGA is probably going to win the MVP. They were one of the best teams all year. But I remember last year they were like a 2 seed or whatever, and the Mavs beat them in 6 in the second round of the playoffs. And it was kind of like people were like, well, they're really good, but I got to see it in the playoffs. I mean, what they're doing to the Grizzlies, you know, and Memphis still has a lot of talent. I know they changed coaches, but, I mean, my God, they've won the first 2 games by 70. This thing's headed for a sweep.
Leave no doubt. That's what they're doing right now. They're leaving no doubt. It's only 2 games. You know, things can happen, but they look the part, man. They play defense. They get after you. They get loose balls. I mean, they just do everything right. They're well coached. They got a star in SGA, and they've got all the right pieces around him. I mean, they're going to win this series, you know, unless some injuries happen. We've seen it. We've seen injuries happen. Things could change. That's like the only thing I think that would derail them in this series, though.
Yeah, Memphis having a real weird. They were having a good year, and then I don't know what happened when they fired their coach. I didn't understand that. But, you know, NBA, that happened, and Mike Montgomery got fired in Denver, or Mark Malone, I'm sorry. But I still think that's crazy. All right, it's 3 games tonight. Magic, Celtics. Celtics are 10.5. Heat, Cavs. Cavs are 11.5. I have nothing to say about either of these because I think the Celtics and Cavs are going to roll. The game I'm excited about tonight, Moody, and it's the game you got the future on. What's going to happen in Game 2 of Golden State at Houston? Houston's a 3.5-point favorite. So Vegas is kind of saying they think Houston's going to bounce back. You know, you've got like kind of a classic playoff series here where you got the veterans of Golden State with Steph at 37 and Butler and Draymond at 35 against an extremely deep, young, talented Houston team that has not been in the playoffs yet. And Golden State, even as the 7 seed, was favored in the series. They were like minus 185. I'm going to go ahead and just say it. I mean, total must-win for Houston tonight. Cannot lose 2 at home and go back out to Golden State. You're going to be looking at losing this thing in 5 if you do.
I think they're going to lose this in 5 or 6, to be honest with you. I think Golden State's experience, they're playing so well together. The combination of Jimmy and Steph, man, it's working. And Jimmy has completely balled in. Everybody seems to like one another. Like, the vibes are high. You can see every press conference, just the way they're talking about one another. Things look really good. And we got to give Draymond Green credit. I gave him credit yesterday. I think he deserves a ton of credit for what success they're having right now. He's the defensive anchor of this team. He really is one of the big pieces that makes everything go for this Golden State team. And he's been a difference maker. He was a difference maker in game 1 defensively. And I think that'll probably continue to be a trend in this series. I've got Golden State in 6, maybe 5.
Yeah, well, the thing is I think if Houston loses tonight, this thing ain't going 6. I mean, I think this is
Right.
this is the coup d'etat moment, because if you're down 2-0 going back out to Golden State, you're mentally cooked. NHL playoffs rolling along too. Hurricanes beat the Devils 3-1 last night. That's 2-0. That looks like it's not going to be much of a series. Man, it's fun watching, like I said, the Canadian hockey, just seeing the atmospheres. I flipped over and saw the Maple Leafs scoring overtime to beat Ottawa. Dude, the scene in Toronto was just, I mean, their love for hockey, they had like thousands of people watching it outside, losing their minds. Toronto now up 2-0. You know, every year the Maple Leafs are like hyped up in the playoffs and choke. So maybe this is the year they make a run. I think it'd be good for hockey if a Canadian team won it. Florida Panthers won at Tampa 6-2. That's a fun. Florida Panthers won it. That's a fun little Florida NHL rivalry. And the Wild evened it up last night with the Golden Knights 5-2. A little bit of a mild surprise there. But this is like
Stars got a win in game 1 too. I mean, I know it wasn't last night, but Stars
it's 1-1. Yeah,
so.
It's 1-1. That Avs Stars series, they won it overtime 2 nights ago. This is really fun when the first round of both are going on and there's just nonstop action, because you got 8 series each, and so it's just and I've been flipping around enjoying the NHL. And I like I said it yesterday on the show. I'm saying it again. I'm pulling for the Caps. I love PFT, and I'm a big Nate fan too. And I think the Ovechkin story is cool. They got Montreal at the Caps tonight. Stars Avalanche game 3 tonight, Moody, back out in Colorado. And then the Oilers Colorado, a pretty big favorite, -190. And the Oilers Kings also tonight, game 2. The Oilers Kings game 1 was bananas. The Kings were up 4-0. Oilers came back and tied at 5-5, and the Kings won 6-5. The Oilers always play just the highest scoring games, man. They they got obviously McJesus, but anyway, either way, NHL playoffs rolling along. That's a total stud. Some baseball stuff I want to comment on real quick before I get to NFL draft stuff. Look, I mean, everyone knows I'm an Ole Miss homer and happy. The Governor's Cup in Mississippi last night was freaking epic. Ole Miss and Mississippi State play every year in Jackson. It doesn't count for SEC. It's a midweek game. But Ole Miss won 8-7 on a walk-off hit by Will Furnace in the 10th. Moody, this was just like a classic back-and-forth midweek game. It was like 3-0 State, 5-3 Ole Miss, 7-5 State. Then Ole Miss, Austin Foley hits like his 4th bomb in 5 games, the 2-run shot in the ninth to tie it 7-7. And then Will Furnace got a walk-off single in the 10th. But, Ole Miss has had a really bad history against State in that Governor's Cup. And really big win. I mean, I know it's midweek, but, basically is going to count as an SEC game toward their tournament standings. And so huge win. Bad loss for State. It was right on the bubble. But love just seeing their hearts get ripped out. And Ole Miss was super fired up last night. Rebs had like a bad last week. Like, kind of had a bad week. Had a bad midweek loss to Little Rock and lost 2 out of 3 at South Carolina. So, big bounce back. They're like number 23 right now, trying to get back in the top 16 to host a regional. Some other college, midweek college baseball is always like the weirdest thing ever, because, everybody saves their top 3 starters and all their best pitchers for weekend. But like Moody, your boys, Northwestern State, I know you've had called a lot of games, beat LSU 13-3 in Baton Rouge. They're like a plus 620 underdog last night. I mean,
whooped their ass last night.
You just never know what's going to happen in midweek baseball. Some other stuff that was notable. There was a just bananas game in San Marcos, Texas. Texas beat Texas State 14-11. Came back late. That was freaking crazy. And then the biggest games of the night were Clemson, Georgia. Clemson won 3-0. And then Auburn beat Georgia Tech. But, yeah, and then also want to mention the Kentucky Wildcats. Thinking about hopping on them at like 75-1. They're getting real hot. They hammered Louisville in another big midweek game. Saw the pro baseball yesterday, man. We talk about the DraftKings, the no sweat parlay. Man, you hit a round robin. I took the one that was Ben Rice, Tatis, and then somebody else that hit a home run, because it was 2 of the 3. And if Tatis had hit a home run, I'd have cashed big.
Yeah, I went round robin on that. It's one of the things that I've been trying to do more of, is do the round robins. Because look, hitting 3-leggers is tough. It's real tough. I hit 3 out of 4 last night. I had a 4-legger on my personal that I was real close to. Had I gotten a home run for Mike Trout, but hit the round robin, hit a couple other singles, made 4 or 5 units last night. maybe 6. Either way, another solid night of betting. Didn't do so great on my picks, but the home run props, we get hot and we stay hot. And right now we are definitely hot.
I love the get hot, stay hot. Where'd you come up with that?
Well, it's just a thing, that I've heard hitters say before. Obviously, as a former pitcher only, I was not a very good hitter myself, but it's just something, baseball for me is such a streaky game, and I'm superstitious about it. And I kind of feel like this is how I feel betting home run props. I feel like a hitter myself going through a major league season because you're going out there every day and you're trying to get hits on these home run props, right? And like I literally feel like every day I'm waking up, going through the grind of the MLB season. Like it's kind of like being a hitter in my own way, going through a major league season. I don't know. It's just how I feel about it. And so it's kind of just a mindset thing for me. Get hot, stay hot, because baseball is such a mental game. And, I guess betting home run props can be such a mental game as well. So it's kind of where I'm at. And it's just something you'll hear hitters say, stay hot up there, stay hot and whatnot. So, it's kind of what we got going on. And I'm going to keep riding that wave.
Oh, man, the people love it, dude.
Hopefully it doesn't wave. Hopefully it doesn't break.
The people, it kind of reminds me of the touchdown bets in football. It's kind of similar.
Oh, my 2 favorite bets in all of sports. That's really the 2 things I bet the most, right? Touchdown props and obviously home run parlays. Those are my favorite 2 things to do. And I had pretty good success with touchdown props as well.
I feel like the home runs are hard. Like I'm impressed that you're doing well in it because I feel like it's a really hard thing to beat. I mean, I think it's tough.
It's very data driven. It's a combination of data and just knowing ball. Like, and I think the fact that I've played fantasy baseball for 12, 15 years at this point, this is what I do. It's what I love to do. And you pair that with data and you can have a lot of success. So that's definitely what we're doing right now. I wake up every day. Like as soon as this ends, I'll go to the lab. I'll go ahead and throw out a couple. We're going to run back Matt Olson and Ben Rice this morning.
That's who it was. Matt Olson was the one who hit one last night.
Yeah, Matt Olson and Ben Rice. I'm going to run them back this morning as a 2-legger. May throw them on the round robin. We'll see, but I'm definitely going to run those 2 back. So I saw some of the comments. What's the plays for the day? Matt Olson, Ben Rice, going to be on both of them again in the early going this morning. We got 5 games kicking off around noon Central.
Yeah, how much do you love the day? It seems like there's more and more day baseball in Major League. Because usually there used to be like, it used to be like Thursday afternoons would be the getaway day. So you play like Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday. But man, I don't know. I love just the day baseball, just having the action on. I feel like MLB should do a better job where there's just baseball always on. They should have like an 11 a.m. Eastern game every day where one team has to play just to have the TV thing. Also, I want to comment, did you see that Cubs-Dodgers game last night?
I did, and I'll tell you what, that was a surprising game of the night for me because Dustin May has been sensational his first few starts. Like he's just giving up ground balls, striking people out. He's been great. I thought that was going to be a lower scoring game last night, so I essentially stayed away from it. Turned into an absolute shootout of a game. Dustin May gave up 5 runs. Shota Imanaga got smacked up as well. Ultimately, the Dodgers rallying late, get the win. I mean,
Cubs won. Cubs won in 10. No, Cubs came back. That's why it was so crazy. The Cubs were down 10-7. Kyle Tucker hit a bomb. Then I forgot who. Somebody hit a solo in the 9th, and then they won on a walk-off hit in the 10th, 11-10. And the Cubs had that crazy 12-11 win over the Diamondbacks, and the wind was howling out, and the home run odds were nuts on Friday. But they're playing some wild games. The Kyle Tucker thing is taking over Chicago. How much money are they going to have to give him to stay? Because he is freaking cooking.
Well, one of the things that I find the most interesting is the fact that Vladdy just signed that big $500 million deal. And you have to feel like they're somewhat equivalent. Tucker's a better defender, plays a more premium position, has more skill as far as being able to run the bases. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's a more 5-tool player than Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is. Vlad just got a monster lifetime contract. That's probably going to be the range that I feel like the Cubs have to hit if they want to lock up Kyle Tucker for the long term. If I'm Kyle Tucker's agent, that's the contract that I want for my guy. You know what I mean? So Ricketts better get ready to pay the money because the Cubs fans are going to be really pissed, and it's going to look really bad if somehow Kyle Tucker slips out of the hands of the Chicago Cubs after they gave up Cam Smith, who's got 6 years of control. So, and he's not, obviously Tucker right now, definitely a better player. But that's a trade that could look bad, especially Only probably if Kyle Tucker gets away from the Cubs, but they've got to lock him up long term. I think they're smart enough to. I saw a little story the other day that said they're going to enter into contract talks soon. So I think they're going to try and get it done. I think Tucker obviously seems to like himself there. He wants to be the man somewhere, right? In Houston, he was just a big piece to the puzzle, but he was just one of the pieces. He wasn't Altuve, who's going to be the face of that franchise until he retires.
Or
Yordan for sure, but Altuve definitely the face of that. For Kyle Tucker, he gets to be the face of a club. He's got the weight of the team on his shoulders, and he seems to be flourishing in that role. And he's, look, hitting home runs at Wrigley is a big thing because left-handed hitters struggled there at Wrigley the last couple of years. Kyle Tucker's looked pretty good so far. That was the one thing I was concerned with, but he's definitely living up to the trade assets that were put in place for him.
I'm curious, so how much older is he than Vlad? Isn't he a couple years older?
I think they're right about the same age, maybe 1 year. Let me see real quick.
Okay, so he's going to be looking for a long term because I know Vlad got like 14 and 500.
He got 14 and 5. Tucker's 28. I think Vlad is 26, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so it's a not a big difference.
Yeah, Vlad's 26. So it's 2 years. I would say I would try and hand Kyle Tucker a 10-year, $400 million deal. I mean, he's worth 40 a year in my opinion.
Yeah, and they kind of have to get it done, like you said, because after giving up Cam Smith and a bunch of prospects, you can't just have a rental here. But either way, there's an energy. Chicago sports have been really struggling for a while. And, obviously the Cubs won it in 2016, but that's 9 years ago now. The Blackhawks had that run where they won 3 in 5 years, but that's like 10 years ago now. But, you look at the White Sox have obviously been the worst team in baseball. Cubs, Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks. There's a hunger here for some success. I mean, Chicago is one of the great sports towns in America, and the Cubs are the heartbeat. The Cubs and the Bears, I think, are the two real heartbeats of it. And I don't know. There's just a big energy around the Cubs right now, and I hope they keep doing well because it'll make summer up here even better. That's for sure. But it's certainly interesting so far.
No doubt. And I think they are going to continue to do well. I'm a little worried about the pitching staff. I feel like, losing Steele, we talked about this yesterday, is a big deal, really big deal for them. But the lineup looks great. The combination of Kyle Tucker and Seiya Suzuki kind of manning the middle of that lineup has been very, very good. You got a lefty right there, a power hitting right-hander behind him. It's a good combination. They're getting guys like Carson Kelly, one of the best. He's like the number one catcher right now in fantasy baseball, which is wild if you've watched Carson Kelly's career. He's been with multiple teams, hasn't had a ton of success, especially at the plate, but he's thriving right now as a Chicago Cub. He will probably fall back to earth at some point, but right now he looks like the real deal. The Cubs have a lot of pieces. I don't know that they have enough to beat a team like the Dodgers or maybe the Padres or the Phillies when the playoffs roll around, but they do have enough pieces to win the Central and put themselves in a good position to make Cubs fans happy and be back in the playoffs.
Yeah, just the Justin Steele elbow injury is so tough, losing one of your top two pitchers. And they might have to go get some more help there. I've got some NFL draft stuff for today I want to touch on. You and I both talked about yesterday. Everyone knows Cam Ward's going to Tennessee, number 1. It seems like it's universal. Travis Hunter's going to Cleveland, number 2, even though I heard some people in calling asking about that pick. I think Abdul Carter is going 3 to the Giants as well. The biggest questions are about the quarterbacks behind them. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. It's Dart and Shador. And yesterday we kind of said we thought Shador to Cleveland could happen. I'm very curious if Shador falls, which I think Shador and Dart are both not going top 15 from the stuff I'm hearing. I think they're going to fall a little bit. Will Pittsburgh look at Shador with their pick? Because that's interesting.
16, 17?
I think they're like 18 because they're like 18 or 19 because they made the playoffs last year. That's the question, though, because now it looks like the Rodgers Steelers thing isn't going to happen. Russ is gone. Justin Fields is a Jet. I mean, they brought Mason Rudolph back as a backup, but there's no way they're going into the year with him. I feel like they may have to look at him here.
I could see it. Shador, incredibly accurate. I'm a little worried about the arm strength. I know it may be overblown, but it was something that popped off the screen with him and Cam. And I just think in the NFL, man, when you're trying to drive the ball to the sidelines at times, the window's not as big. And if you don't zip it out there, bro, you can get picked off along the sideline. So that's one thing I'm worried about with Shedeur. I'm not worried about his mental game, his love for the game, his toughness. I'm not really worried about any of that. My only real knock on him is the arm strength. So I don't know. We'll see. I would not be surprised to see the Steelers take him. But Pittsburgh, usually more conservative in the draft. They tend to go for the can't miss type guys.
Well, they went Kenny Pickett. Remember, they went Kenny Pickett first round 3 or 4 years ago, and it did not.
And that burned them, and they haven't done anything like that since. That's like one of the only, they do a great job in the draft. You got to give Pittsburgh a lot of credit. They are very good in the draft. They do a good job drafting receivers. What they do defensively, they seem to reload with guys. That's a team that just does a really good job in the draft. Maybe they'll take Shedeur. We'll see. I think they'll probably pass, but I'm curious to find out.
I am curious too, because think about it. They traded for DK Metcalf and gave him $150 million, and they still have Pickens. Yeah. You've put a lot of capital in that receiving core. You better have someone that can get him the damn ball. If you're going to spend that kind of money on that. And then when you look at the Steelers the last few years, everyone knows they have a winning record every year in the Tomlin crazy stretch. But it's so clear when you watch them in the playoffs that they're a quarterback away. They have a winning record every year, and I think they have an unbelievable organization. I'm not here to say anything negative. But every time they get in the playoffs and they play like they get blown out by the Ravens or the Chiefs or whatever, you see how far away they are from those teams that have Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Mahomes. And so they got to do something. I don't know. So I'm very curious to see. I feel like Shedeur is going to be a Steeler or a Brown. And then the Jackson Dart thing, we talked a lot about the Saints with yesterday. I think the Giants are also a very, very possible factor to trade back in the late 20s. I know they have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, so they're probably set for this year, but neither one of those are long-term threats either. So I kind of feel like Dart's going to be a Saint or a Giant, and Shedeur is going to be a Brown or Steeler. That's kind of my take.
Who do you think goes first, Shedeur or Jackson?
Because the whole thing is if the Steelers don't take Shedeur, he's going to fall. The fact that neither one of them are going to the draft after how hyped they are, that feels like they could. There's a chance both fall even in the second round when you see that. That's a damning thing because Dart was supposed to go and now he's not. So it makes me feel like they don't think they're going to get drafted first round if they opted out of going. And then I saw something real interesting on Shedeur yesterday that an anonymous NFL exec said he had the worst interview he's ever seen. He was really not interested. He's like, I think he holds on to the ball too long. I don't think he's that good, and he's got a bad attitude. I was like, damn, throwing some shade at him. My knock on him is he holds on to the ball too long. That is always a concern. That was a concern with Caleb Williams last year. I don't know. It's just, he's such a polarizing prospect. One of the most ever to come out.
Yeah.
And I'm curious. But if he ends up in Cleveland with Hunter, though, I think that would certainly be something. But Cleveland's had such a bad history developing quarterbacks that you almost think can he do well there. Some other questions in the first round. I think one of the biggest questions. So you remember the stud tight end from Penn State, Tyler Warren, who was awesome last year.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he got hurt at one point at the end, right?
He had a good. He was out there in the playoffs, but the big question is where does he go in the top 10? Because he's been connected to the Jets at 7. Do they give Justin Fields a safety valve, or do the Jets have the luxury of taking a tight end? People said Saints maybe at 9, the Bears at 10. That's certainly one to watch because the thing is, as good as he is, and we see how much of a difference Brock Bowers is making already, but then we also saw Kyle Pitts be the number 4 overall pick a few years ago. Dude, taking a tight end in the top 10, I know Warren's awesome. I think he's great. But that's such a luxury pick. If you're in the top 10, you got big-time needs. Do you really pass on a sure lineman for a tight end? You know what I mean? I don't know.
No, I get it.
And then when you look at this draft, Will Campbell looks like he's going to go 4 to New England, I think, the tackle from LSU. But the Missouri tackle's risen a bunch. You got Kelvin Banks. You've got some 4 tackles that could go top 15. So I think there's a good chance the Saints look at possibly Banks at 9, but then I also think there's a lot of talk about Mikael Williams, the Georgia edge rusher DN, could go there as well. And the Saints need when you're looking at this roster, I think you need difference makers in that D-line bad. Cam Jordan's still out there, but he's obviously old. Brian Barisi from Clemson's a solid D tackle they hit on, but that's the only difference maker they have. you got to get some difference makers up front. So I'd be fine with them taking Williams from Georgia or Kelvin Banks. I know it's always boring to go line of scrimmage, and the other guy I'm looking out for is Mason Graham from the Michigan. A lot of people had him connected to the Jags at 5. But, man, it seems like there's a lot of hype on Ashton Genty, Moody, and talk about taking a running back early. I've seen him projected to the Jags at 5, the Raiders at 6, the Bears at 10. I feel like, I said it yesterday and I repeat it. It feels like the running back after the Saquon and Henry years last year maybe making a comeback is more of a premier position. But where Genty goes is going to be a huge factor here in this first round. But I think he's going top 10, which – he's extremely talented, but I'm always hesitant. I know I sound conservative, but running backs, tight ends, top 10 is gambling to me.
That is gambling. Those are, as you said, they're luxury picks. They're the kind of – but Genty seems like the kind of guy you can build a franchise around. We'll see. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I would rather take the sure things that, if you got a sure tackle right there, a sure defensive lineman, it's not the sexy pick, but it may be the smart pick. We'll see what happens with Genty. I think if he falls to Dallas, Dallas will take it. I don't know that he's going to fall that far. If he makes it to the Cowboys, we've seen Jerry do it before. I think he will be a Dallas Cowboy if he somehow falls that far.
I read Peter Schrager, who's now at ESPN, used to be NFL Network, Good Morning Football. He put out his mock draft this morning, and he's real plugged into the league. And he had Dallas taking Tyler Booker, the guard from Bama, at the 12th pick, which makes all the sense because Zach Martin just retired. And you look at Dallas's history, they tend to take a lot of linemen first round. Booker's a plug and play, starts for Zach Martin, reliable for years. It's another one of those boring picks, but it would make a lot of sense. A guy I'm real curious about is where does Matthew Golden end up going? Ran a 4.29. He's got a top 15, top 20 grade. Had a big year at Texas, did well at Houston before that. He's a name I'm looking at the receiving core. And then McMillan from Arizona is like an athletic freak, but he's also like he's a big boomer bust one to me, man. He's definitely got the athletic talent. He said he doesn't like watching film. I don't know if he loves football, which is always kind of a concern. But those are the top 2. Not the best receiver draft this year, though. We've seen so many the last few years. I
wouldn't be surprised if this McMillan kid turns out to be a stud. I really wouldn't. You watch him on film, though. He is a difference maker. He wins his ones. He took it to – so he had some matchups against Travis Hunter, and he beat the piss out of Travis Hunter. He looked like an NFL player against Travis Hunter. So, I don't know. I think McMillan has a chance to be a real stud. You're mentioning some things about him I didn't necessarily know. But from the things I have seen, kid looks like he can play some damn football. So, I personally think he'll end up being the number 1 receiver in this draft.
Yeah, well, he's got the upside for sure, and he's got that body type at 6'5", and then – at Arizona, people were triple teaming him last year too because, he was literally there. His stats were all over the place last year, but, literally, if you played Arizona, he was all you had to worry about, and they fell off a little bit last year, so I don't know if that's necessarily all on him. Also, I think Walter Nolan, the Ole Miss defensive, everybody's talking about Dart. I think Nolan's going to go top 15. The defensive tackle, the A&M transfer, had a huge year last year. A lot of people have him projected to the Niners at 12. Which would make a lot of sense because the Niners, you think about their identity, they always have a good D-line, but they need to replenish it. Man, I have concerns. Are they about to fall off a little bit? I know last year they had a ton of injuries, but they're about to have to give Purdy a bunch of money. I don't know. They had such a good run. They made the 2 Super Bowls, lost 2 heartbreakers to Kansas City. They made the NFC Championship like 4 times in 5 years or something. Last year they had obviously kind of a disaster year, but I'm kind of wondering. I love Kyle Shanahan and all, but the McCaffrey thing and Trent Williams getting older, I'm wondering if the music is over there in San Francisco.
I don't know that the music's over. Lynch did a great job building that team, put them in a position to win a Super Bowl. Injuries have been the main thing for them the last couple of years. They just ran into tons of injuries. Purdy dealing with the elbow at times, Debo, there was injuries across the board. McCaffrey's definitely on his way out. He's not going to suddenly, turn back time being a smaller running back like that. So
yeah, he's 28, 29 too.
Yeah, I do have concerns for them, but everything we've seen so far from this administration since Lynch took over has been good stuff. So I'm not willing to write the 49ers off just yet. I'm not ready to do that.
I thought it was interesting. So Devontae Adams was talking about the Niners lowballed him, and the Rams embraced him more, and he ended up playing for the Rams. And I know you're a Devontae Adams roadie too. I can't wait to see him and Puka next year for the Rams. That's gonna be.
I'm just so happy for Matthew Stafford. I mean, he's probably my favorite player in the NFL. Gunslinger, future Hall of Famer, absolute superstar stud, good dude. So I'm happy for him. And look, Devontae is the kind of guy that can go up and get it. He can win in traffic. And Matthew Stafford's the dude that will let you go make those plays. So I think that's going to be a really good combination because it was very clear Cooper Kupp has lost a step. Still a great elite route runner, but he's lost a step. And it showed last year. And for them to essentially not have him showing up and showing out, Stafford and Puka still played well. You give him Devontae Adams, who's someone who can win in the red zone. I think that's a big boost, actually, for the Rams.
Yeah, Adams is always such an elite route runner, and the way McVay designs all those crossing routes and stuff, I think he's an incredible fit in that offense. And me and a buddy of ours had a big argument about it because I rare time I disagree with our buddy Cassidy, but he was kind of saying he wasn't as in favor of that move, and I was like, dude, Kupp to Adams is a huge upgrade. Kupp fell off tons last year; he couldn't separate. So totally got that, in my opinion. But yeah, man, ready for this draft. Super, super excited about tomorrow night. Join us for the NFL draft show here at Barstool. Mega Making Money and I are going to be representing the Saints as we always do. It should be a lot of fun, though. I'm excited about Gruden coming back up here. It's always great to get to kick it with him. I'm also excited. I got a sneak peek at our Planet Fitness commercial we taped with Gruden. And, man, it's really, really funny. Hope it comes out soon. I think it's good stuff. Also, there's a lot of momentum in this office. More people signing up for that Chicago Marathon in October. White Sox Dave's kicking the tires on it. That would be really fun if he did it. So, that's going to be a looming big thing this year. But, October 12th, excited for it. And, yeah, man, I mean, I think everything's good. It's a little bit of a dreary day here, but, man, we're almost out of the woods, Moody. The Chicago thing, you suffer from November to, May. But the summer's coming. The vibes are good up at Barstool. And, want to keep riding your picks and parlays. And I think good times are coming. I kind of hear it everywhere I go. So I'm feeling good.
Good times are here. They're not just coming. I think they're here right now. So, the weather's turned. It's nice and warm down here. We've been enjoying the warm weather the last couple of weeks. So I've got nothing to complain about as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, you sound better too. You're not sick anymore?
No, I'm feeling a little bit better. I was hurting the last few days because I normally don't get sick, but brother, I was shooting snot rockets. I could have gone further into space than Katy Perry could have with my snot rocket. I'm telling you.
That's pretty funny. Well, reminder, show sponsored by Dude Wipes. Get them at Walmart, Target, Amazon, all over the World Wide Web. Amazing product. Stella Blue and Dude Wipes, let's be honest. It's the dream morning combo. I mean, you start your day, you drink some coffee, get cleaned out with Dude Wipes, boom, ready to face the day. And that's exactly how I feel. We're going to do a show Friday, too, reacting to the NFL Draft first round. We'll be back tomorrow. As always, chat, and follow Moody on Twitter. Keep these picks coming. Let's have a day. Woo!
Ben Rice, Matt Olson. Let's go. And Nick Kurtz tonight. I'll be on Nick Kurtz.
Yeah, I wanted to add, actually, when I was talking baseball, I forgot to mention that. He had a huge career at Wake Forest. Mm-hmm. He's one of the top prospects. I saw you tweet, and you're going to try to get value on him early before his odds change. All right. Later, boys.
No, we're good. I'm good. I'm back. My bad.
You're good. I was saying you're trying to get value on. Yeah, you're trying to get value on Nick Kurtz early before his odds change.
Yeah, one of the best batted has the best batted ball profile right now coming up out of the minor leagues. Stud at Wake Forest. A's took him early. He has done nothing but hit so far in his minor league career. I mean, the kid hits the ball. He barrels the ball incredibly consistently, hits it very hard. I think he's going to be a stud for the A's. I think and it's such a shame for Oakland, but I think the A's have some guys coming up, obviously with Rooker and company. They've signed him. I think the A's are going to be admirable for the next few years, especially with Nick Kurtz leading the charge. So I'm excited to see him get to play some baseball. He will be debuting tonight against Kumar Rocker, so a guy that he probably saw once upon a time in college, I think this is a really good spot for him. He's got another dude who's on his level. Would not be surprised if Nick Kurtz goes yard tonight as well. So he's someone to keep an eye on, and he will make baseball even more fun being out there. Pay attention to this kid. He's going to be great.
While we're before we get out of here on the top prospects thing, I saw Dylan Cruz hit 2 on Saturday off Chase Hollander, who used to play against Tennessee. Is he finally starting to come around? Because I know he had a horrible start.
Finally starting to come around, hit another home run last night. He was striking out so much the first 2 to 3 weeks of baseball. And he's turning it around, starting to homer, hitting everything hard. I mean, he's hitting. I looked at his recent exit velos last night, and I mean, everything's coming off the bat 100 plus right now. He's starting to turn things around. And I think sooner rather than later, the Nats need to move him to the top part of the lineup. You're building this team around James Wood and Dylan Cruz. That is your future. Let's move Cruz to the top. Let's put him up there, pair him with James Wood, let those two flourish. Because the Nats are not a World Series team. They're not even a playoff team. But you know what? Give the fans what they want. Let Dylan Cruz get more at-bats at the top of the lineup. Get used to it, because that's where he's going to be. That's where you expect him to be in the future for this franchise. I think the reason he started the year so slow was they killed his confidence a little bit, making him hit 8-hole to start the season. That's my opinion, at least. But the kid has figured it out. I mean, we saw it in the minors. We saw it in college. He's got a great bat. He adjusts well, and he's starting to make that adjustment now at the major league level. I have no concerns with Dylan Cruz.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, follow Moody on Twitter for more baseball. We'll have plays out. Check out that DraftKings No Sweat bet.